Hello everybody, it's vanburman here. Welcome back to another Steam Deck video. This is more of a discussion video though. There's not any actual gameplay or footage in this one. I did want to talk today about Steam's verified game program that they have for the Steam Deck, and really based on an experience that I had earlier today on the stream I did where I'm testing out some more games. And on that I had Payday 2. That's the main culprit, I guess, or like the straw, I guess, that has brought this conversation up. And that is classed as verified by Steam. It's one of the ones on their front page to go and buy if you've got a Steam Deck. And yeah, by all accounts, sounds like it should run perfectly well. I mean, I think it probably, definitely should do. I think because it uses the source engine, doesn't it, or a modified source engine. Could be wrong, but that's my presumption. And basically, from booting up the game, just standard, I've not booted it up on the Steam Deck before. I haven't played it in 7 odd years, and it ran like complete trash basically. And it was, don't get me wrong, it was set on high settings with anti-aliasing on, lots of other high end settings that might affect GPU CPU performance, and turning them down to the lowest while still keeping 1280 by 800 resolution, the frame rate actually got worse. And you could tell by the temperature of the CPU and GPU that it wasn't fully utilizing the capabilities of the Steam Deck. Now, that of course can happen on games on the Steam Deck. There are different variables like Proton versions and that sort of thing, which I did test different Proton versions, and unfortunately it appears as though, at least in this experience, that Payday 2 was not could not be classified as a verified game. And I think that sort of is the reason, it's the reason I wanted to make the video. I'm going to be doing my month-long impressions video at some point over the next couple of days, and I didn't want it to be bogged down with this particular point. It's become extremely poignant thanks to the stream that went on earlier, and it raises to me one of the key issues that Valve has to get over for the Steam Deck to be successful. So one of the things that they've started introducing is their sort of verified status, I guess, questionnaire thing at the end after you play a verified game. It doesn't happen all the time. It didn't happen unfortunately after I played Payday 2, or as I would have said, no, this is not an experience I would expect from a verified game. But they don't ask for that on any other game that you might play. So, for example, I've done the untested series that is going on. I've done the unsupported series that I've now concluded because I've tested out all of the unsupported games in my library, and most of them we could get working, some of which are within Valve's own gift to do so. So, for example, setting a certain Proton version out of the box. Some of it is workarounds that, for whatever potentially legal reason, Valve can't do. So I'm not going to penalise them for that. But the fact that there are a lot of workarounds that Valve could implement on games that they have actually apparently tested seems to be, well, a little bit disingenuous, I guess. And some games just worked straight away. And now that could be because the new version of Proton came out a couple of days after, or day after, I think I got my Steam Deck, and as one of the first people to get it, that could have been verified on the Proton 6.3-8 rather than 7.0-1, which we're currently on. And of course, we've got experimental as well. And I currently have the 7.9 Glorious Egg Roll version as well, which does fix quite a few of the unsupported games just by itself, just by enabling that. So I'm not saying that there should be that level of intricacy. However, the fact that Payday 2 doesn't work from the moment that you launch it, there were people on ProtonDB, big shout out to ProtonDB, by the way. They've helped me at least solve a lot of issues, and be able to share a lot of issues with the games that don't work properly on the Steam Deck, because obviously it's based on the Linux and people using different versions of Linux, different version of Proton, and that's obviously what we're using to play the games through Steam. And I've been contributing to that. I think I've done 4 reports so far. I need to go and do my Payday 2 one at some point as well, because there's very few Steam Deck users that are posted on there. But as time goes on, that will be the key repository, I guess, for that kind of for those workarounds. Now, basically, Valve should have its own internal Proton DB, if you like. Every time, especially like the people who have got one at the minute, like early adopters, if you like, people who are a bit more passionate, I guess, and have a bit more patience around different games and wanting to figure out ways for them to work, which I think the majority of people who have got them at the minute early on, because they were there within the first hour or so wanting to pre-order, are probably the right audience to be asking these questions to. I should have a questionnaire at the end of, in my opinion, I should have a questionnaire at the end of every game. Like, optional, obviously. And it says, was it a good experience? Was it not a good experience? Yes, no. And then a comments field to fill out a couple of lines, which I'd be more than happy to do, to give feedback. But I think the reason that I find it most egregious from the stream today is that a Steam employee, a Valve employee, or however they're doing it, has gone into Payday 2, loaded it up, and said, yeah, this is verified. This is the prime example of how a game on the Steam Deck should run. Out the gate. In 6 months' time, you're going to get people who probably may well be first-time users or very casual users of Steam starting to get Steam Decks. And that set of people, and all of us as well, are potentially going to buy Payday 2 because it's verified. You know what? Steam have said it's verified, or Valve have said it's verified, so I'm going to buy it. And then you get that kind of experience, and you could quite easily boot up Payday 2, for example, and think, gosh, this Steam Deck is a pile of crap. It's no better than my 7-year-old gaming laptop. When obviously, in reality, depending on what specs your 7-year-old gaming laptop was, but it's almost certainly better in almost every aspect, apart from maybe storage. So they are really selling themselves short. They're missing out on the opportunity. This is probably one of the biggest hurdles for the Steam Deck to be really successful. And I think without the engagement now with people who have got it, with people who have the patience, I'm sure there's loads of people out that, loads of people who are watching me now do seem to be those sort of people that have the patience and want to do the workarounds to make games work if they can, or at least interested to see how they do, how that happens, And I'm sure many of you, like me, have potentially wanted to use a controller on a game on Windows, and you've downloaded something like Xpadder, and you have configured every button to every bit on the to every keystroke to every button on the joystick, just so you could play a game with a controller. I mean, that's what I've done when I was moving from console to PC a long time ago. And something I would do again and I have been doing that on the Steam Deck, because I've got that level of patience wanting to customize it. But I know that if there's a game that is that needs that, it's going to take me half an hour to an hour to properly refine what buttons I want where. And that can happen in any game anyway, obviously. Rocket League's a key one that has controller support, but I play with, or have played with, a modified controller scheme. 3 or 4 of the buttons are swapped over, just because it feels more ergonomic. So that's not unreasonable. However, there is this barrier to entry that I've noticed on the Steam Deck. And while it's fine for people like me, or bigger YouTubers who have been using it, like Linus, like ETA Prime, those guys who are aware, like me, and happy to make the concession, to realize that there's time that needs to be invested to get this stuff potentially working, tweaks, fine-tuning. I think that there needs to be, people may not like me for saying this, but there needs to be a bit more of a console-esque experience from the Steam Deck. We've got loads of flexibility, loads of customization. So the people that want to do stuff like me can do it, but out the box, it gives people the gateway to the Steam platform to then hopefully learn this stuff and go, you know what, I actually want to tweak the settings in this game within the safe haven, if you like, of the Steam Deck that just works. I know I've used that meme already on a previous video, but that's what it needs to do. It needs to just work. And particularly for verified games, it needs to work and I can't for 1 minute believe that someone from Valve has loaded up Payday 2 on the Steam Deck and gone, yeah, verify this. Now, I don't know if that's coming down to the developers, if the developers are making that claim and Valve are saying, right, developer, you say that works perfectly fine on the Switch. Straight away, no changes needed. Right, we'll slap the verified we'll slap the verified status on it. Maybe that is the case. I don't know. But I've recently been playing Oblivion on the Steam Deck, which is also down as verified. Now, it doesn't allow, you have to use the mouse to go through the launcher, which is not particularly user-friendly, but you can use the touchscreen, so not too bad. The biggest issue is, though, it's got a custom control scheme by default, which is not a problem. However, in order to be able to run, you have to hold the joystick sort of halfway between like fully activated, and in that sort of area is where the shift key is pressed for your WASD movement. Whereas when you push it all the way forward, that's the walking speed. So why is it set up like that? Because clearly that is not the intended way I would want to play Oblivion. I want to move it a little bit if I want to walk, and then normal to do running, to move around fluidly. And it's little bits like that make me think, I don't know if this is necessarily, I mean, there's a lot of them are simple fixes to be green ticked, but without utilizing the community that they've got, I think it's doomed to be more niche than it needs to be. And I didn't want to have to. I know I spent 11 minutes already, but I didn't want to have to spend 10 minutes or so in my month on video complaining about this particular point. I will obviously make reference to it because I believe it quite strongly. I think it's something that Valve can do better, and I think they need to do it quickly. I think it's something that they need to take up, I don't know, within the next week or so, while you're still shipping to really early adopters, and it needs to be ready by the time end of the summer comes. I would suggest. So it's like Q3, something like that anyway. That's when it needs to be fully baked, ready. That verified tick, green tick, has to mean something. And the playable has to mean something as well. Because that's what people who don't know any better are going to look for to buy. They might think, oh, I'm not going to risk buying an unverified game, or why would I buy an unsupported game? You know, I've played, what game did we play? I don't think a game that worked straight away. I think it was Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I just bought it thinking, oh yeah, I'd love to play that on the deck. And that came up as unsupported. And I was like, oh, that's really frustrating because I wanted to play it. And then you go and boot it up anyway and it just works. It's like, right, okay. So Steam, or Valve, sorry, you will live and die by the compatibility of your software on this device. So let's make it work, because all the tools are there. Might cost you a bit of money in the short run, but look, you will sell more copies of games if you can spend the time to say, yes, it's verified. If you could slap a verified sticker on Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, for example, people with a Steam Deck will probably buy it. Whereas if it says unsupported, they might go, oh, I don't really want to, I've not really got time to play that on my desktop computer, so I'll leave that one. Just a thought. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I don't feel as though I'm being unreasonable, but maybe I am. I want the Steam Deck to do well. It's not without its flaws, of course. If you've got reasonable expectations, it's pretty good. But Valve are not doing the customers any favors with this. I would encourage everyone to check if there's a game you want to get for the Steam Deck. Check ProtonDB. I know it's an extra step. You shouldn't have to, but it currently is the best way to go about it. And in my experience, it's been pretty accurate with a lot of the Linux-based or purely Linux-based advice on there. But as more and more people start getting Steam Decks, like myself adding reports as well, saying what works, you can probably have some confidence in the people that are commenting on that, because they've all been really good from what I've seen. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've run out of things to say, run out of steam. And I will see you all very soon for the 1 month on video. and for the second part of my untested game series as well. I've got another 9 games, I think, for you. Some of them pretty interesting. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye for now.